On today's show, we're going to explore the latest Instagram updates. If you've ever wondered how the Instagram accounts you manage compare to others, a huge new benchmark report was just released. Broadcast channels and Instagram stories are becoming more like the rest of Instagram, which is bizarre in a way, but I also think a really cool opportunity for us as marketers. We'll talk about what that means. A new feature for professional accounts, which could be a game changer, both strategically and psychologically. I'll explain that as well. Our amazing social media examiner team gathers all the latest social media news so we can break it down for you and what it all means. My name is Jerry Potter. Yes, it rhymes with the boy wizard. Welcome to the Social Media Marketing Talk Show. So, broadcast channels are now adding replies. Broadcast channels were the thing where you could send out messages, audio, video, links, but nobody could reply. They could only react to it, add a heart, a thumbs up, an LOL, things like that. Now, channel creators have the option to switch on replies in their channel. So my understanding is it's off by default, but you can turn it on. And my main thing to know about this too, because I was just thinking like, well, what a mess. Because the main broadcast channels that I follow are like the Creators Channel, the Zuckerberg Channel, because that's where we will see a lot of these updates and things like that. The replies are not visible within the main channel feed. So if you follow someone, you'll just see their updates, but it looks like there's going to be a place you can tap in and then see comments from anyone who wanted to comment. Now, I will tell you, I watch these ones. I'm in some smaller ones on other apps like Telegram. And the fact that I can't comment or reply does make it a literally engaging place to be. So on one hand, I kind of like this. I do think potentially this makes broadcast channels even more potent for us as marketers, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. But one of the things I think that's nice about this, if you do manage a big account and a big channel and you're going, oh my gosh, another place to reply to contents or another place to reply to comments, the fact that it is a broadcast channel, I think should remove the pressure for us to feel like, oh, I've got to go through and reply to every comment. It's more like a place for our audience to talk to each other as opposed to feeling like the person who's managing the account or the creator has to be there. Now, here's why I think this potentially makes broadcast channels even more potent. The problem with broadcast channels is because they were so one-sided, right? They were all one to many. You could go, oh, I got 3 hearts today, but it certainly wasn't very encouraging to keep going. You couldn't ask questions, nothing like that. Now you can do that. Now, why would you do that instead of just using regular Instagram? This is why I think they're potentially more potent, because you're in the DMs. Not technically the DMs, but you're in that part of Instagram. And Instagram has said more times than I can count over the last 12 to 18 months that that is where they are shifting almost all of their focus. It's about content that people share with friends, DM with friends, all of that. And so imagine now, and a lot of people, at least for all the broadcast channels that I follow, which is only a handful, I have notifications turned on. So I know when there's new stuff in there. I get the little red circle and I get anxiety if I don't check it. So again, it's kind of like the ability to engage with people, but now in the DMs in a one-to-many way. So it'll be interesting to see. All right. In a somewhat similar note, now Instagram is allowing comments on stories. I've seen this in my account. They say you can now comment on stories. Comments are visible to anyone who views the story. So they're displayed along the bottom of the frame of stories. And my immediate thought was this is kind of a bummer for some marketers because previously, a reply to stories became a DM conversation, right? Instagram stories is where you can share behind the scenes, some more personal stuff. You know, it's automatically, going away in 24 hours. And so usually people that are watching your stories and engaging are a little bit further along in the customer journey. And then when they would reply, you had the potential to start a DM conversation. So that's the downside of this. The upside of this, though, is it may be good for community building. It is another opportunity to connect your audience with each other, but apparently you can do that anywhere on Instagram now. Broadcast channels, stories, regular feed posts, reels, and everywhere else. All right, some new creative features for those of you that like to just jump in and play with everything on Instagram. New fonts, text animations, and effects that you can use in both Reels and Stories. You can open the text tool, tap on the text button to see the new fonts. Once you select a font, then of course you can animate the text or add an effect. And Instagram is rolling out 30 new stickers for Stories and Reels because That's what we all needed, was more stickers to try and browse through to find the right one. But yes, that is happening. Okay, links in Reels. This story has been going around, and I don't think there's any legitimacy to it really. And here's why. So I've seen this so many places now. And it came out of a screenshot that was shared on Threads, and then people kind of kept reposting it, where it's like, oh, wow, they're testing. I can add a link to a reel. Unconfirmed. Meta has said nothing about this. But part of the Meta verified business plans, if you've never looked at them, is the chance to add links to reels. So I think on one of the plans, you can add 2 links per month. Another one, you can add 4 links per month. So again, I'm guessing that's where the screenshot came from. Nothing official from Meta on this. But if you've been thinking about getting Meta verified for business for some of the higher plans, that is an opportunity. I mean, if you have reels that reach thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people regularly, imagine removing the friction of having to send them to your profile and instead being able to get them to click right there in the reel. Weirdest story of the week, probably Instagram announcing their quote new sonic identity for reels. What it is it's basically a sound effect that's going to show up. You may remember when Instagram said, hey, now we're going to let people save your reels to their devices so they can be shared more easily. This is something TikTok has done from the very beginning. And so now Instagram has one, and this is what it sounds like. It might take a second because it's playing on a loop here. So that's it. Nothing too dramatic, but it's the response has been mixed, but basically if somebody downloads a reel, that's going to be sitting there at the end. The funniest part about this story is the announcement post. They were so excited, and I almost feel bad for the team that put the whole thing together, our new sonic identity, and people are like, okay, sure, whatever. So, but if somebody downloads your reel, or if you download a reel, you're going to see that soon. All right, lots more to cover in these updates this week. But if you've been looking at AI at all and you've been overwhelmed by all the rapid advancements, at Social Media Marketing World, you're going to learn how to harness the power of AI to supercharge your marketing efforts. You're going to discover how to save time and improve the effectiveness of your marketing. AI is not going anywhere. Austin Deans attended Social Media Marketing World earlier this year, and he said, my goal was to learn about AI, and I was blown away. This was everything I was hoping to learn plus more. Do not let AI leave you behind. Join us at Social Media Marketing World and stay ahead of the curve. You can see ticket options right now. Go to socialmediamarketing.world. Again, socialmediamarketing.world. I can't wait to see you there. All right, Instagram has announced what I think is potentially a really cool feature. It's too new to know for sure, but it's an in-app best practices feature in the professional dashboard to help grow your audience. So this is going to be for creator accounts or business profiles. And you're going to get content creation insights on how often to post, how to capture more attention through photos, how long your reels should be. The cool thing is it's personalized. So if you thrive on gamification or just the fact that it seems like everyone else is getting the same advice, if you log in and it says, hey, you posted 10 reels this month, nice job, you might want to change it up by doing this, that is potentially really, really beneficial. And I know for me, a couple of things happen. Either one, I go, oh yeah, I've been meaning to do that. Thanks for the reminder. Or two, I do thrive on positive feedback, even though I know it's coming from AI or anything like that. So it's going to be personalized feedback. You should see it on your professional dashboard soon, if not already. So what does everyone say they want? A feed on Instagram of the people they're following. What does everyone actually want? Not that. Instagram head Adam Mosseri has talked about this over and over again, but this time he got really blunt about it. All right, I want to read you his quote. He said, of course we've thought about it and we've tested it and tried it a number of times. Every time we have, there's a subgroup of people who are happy. There's a bunch of people who forget that they're in it. And then overall, everybody who's in it uses Instagram less and less over time. So if you have ever done any kind of research in your marketing or focus groups or anything like that, you know there's often a difference between what people say they want and what people actually want, right? That's just a universal truth. Humanity, I imagine, in every culture and language around the world. But this is where it got really interesting. He said, when we asked them questions like, how satisfied are you with Instagram? They actually report being less happy with Instagram more and more over time on average with the follow only feed. And then he said there's these second order effects where their friends start using Instagram less. And because they use it less, they send less likes and comments, messages, and all this other stuff. And it just gets worse and worse and quickly. So there is no big emphasis or anything coming anytime soon on a followers only feed. We are definitely living in a world where it's going to be that curated feed of people you follow and people you don't, which again, I have always felt is great news for us as marketers because we want to be able to reach new people. And if we can do it without paying for ads, even better. All right. As marketers, we are often wondering how we're performing. Is this good? Am I doing this right? Metricool, social media scheduling tool, did a huge benchmark report analyzing almost 400,000 accounts and over 30 million pieces of content. So this was no small study. Now, before I tell you what it said, personally, I would never make any major decisions or even like medium level ones based on a report like this, right? I think the best person for us to benchmark ourselves against or our brands against is us or our brand last month and the month before. That being said, it's still interesting to hear this stuff. So here is what they found in this report. Instagram stories is the most frequently used format at almost 72% of pieces of content. Not surprising because people post 8 to 20, clips to their Instagram stories every day. Stories have the lowest reach, just over 3%, but they are good for engagement and sending people off platform because of link stickers that you can use. Reels, no surprise, have the highest reach overall. We know this. Also, they are reaching the most non-followers. Again, we know this. That's how they're designed. The one recommendation from their studies was to publish to both the regular feed and the Reels feed. So you keep that thing toggled on when you're uploading your Reels, unless you have a really good reason not to and that you don't want it on your profile. All right, carousels. This was actually really interesting and not surprising after some stuff I've heard from a few people actually in the last 3 days. Carousels have the highest engagement rate at over 10%. Okay. Now, I'm assuming that they're not counting views on Reels as engagement in this situation, but I had 2 different people in the last 2 days or last 3 days tell me carousels are my favorite. I could just read them all day, every day. So even though we've had them for many, many, many years, they continue to get bigger and bigger. They're also most likely to come up in the feed more than once, where Instagram will try a popular carousel a second time, showing the second slide instead of the first one several hours later. All right, this study found with the algorithm, smaller accounts seem to have benefited the most with recent updates, which is great. It's not impossible to grow if you have a small account on Instagram. And then when it comes to frequency, brands are posting more, which is not surprising because reach is going down, but engagement has actually been relatively stable. And the big recommendation was to continue focusing on quality over quantity. Don't we know it? All right, you can now do more within the Instagram app. This update does not surprise me too much because the more content Instagram has to choose from and show people, the better the content overall that people see in their feeds is going to be. So similar to how they've built out the Reels editing interface, now you can customize your photos and carousels by adding the text and layering images right in Instagram. So if you wanted to do one of those storytelling carousels before, you had to go and open Canva or another graphics program or something like that to do it. And now, again, they want to make it easier to do for anyone, anywhere, right there in the platform. So interesting to see that, especially with the current engagement rates on carousels that we just talked about. All right. In the direct messages, Instagram stickers, photo editing, and themes have now all been added to DMs. You can take a photo from the library, use a cutout of it from your photo library on your phone, use a cutout of an object to create a reaction sticker. You can add stickers or draw over a photo before sending it to a friend in the chat interface. Again, Instagram continuing to focus on DMs. And a quick ads update. If you use reminder ads at all, they are now adding additional features to reminders ads that you can do in third-party tools. So if you use a more advanced third-party tool to manage your promotions or boosting or anything like that, until August 19th, developers couldn't create Instagram reminder ads that use some of the features, but now they will be able to do that, including the ability to reach people on Instagram Reels placement with reminder ads. Basically be able to remind people over the right time overall, adding events to ads, optimizing for through play or reach, and all kinds of other things. So this is great news, so obviously for developers, but also if you're somebody who manages some of your paid traffic through third-party tools. Quick reminder, learn all about an all-access ticket at Social Media Marketing World today. Just go to socialmediamarketing.world. And if you want to add another podcast to your listening lineup, we have one for you to check out, the Social Media Marketing Podcast, as well as the all-new AI Explored podcast. You can find those wherever you're listening to this podcast. And until next time, may you be wise with your marketing decisions. Thanks,